welcome on in to Adobe Live. My name is Anika and I'm your host today. Thank you so much for joining me again. This show is called Let's InDesign, so why don't we? Today we're gonna make a cookbook layout, and I don't know about you all, but I love traditional and family recipes. So today we're gonna create some of my favorite Indian recipes and make them into a digital layout. I don't know if you guys have ever created something with InDesign, but if you have, please put it in the chat. We have a live chat both on YouTube and on Behance. So I'm super excited to say hello to everyone in chat. I know there is Steve, Fergie, we have Susan, Cody Bear. Hey, what's up? Hi, everyone. Robert, thank you so much for joining. I know we have Misty in the chat saying that Misty actually worked on a family recipe book, which is super exciting. Misty, if you have any links to that, please make sure to share it in the chat. But before further ado, I am live both on Behance and YouTube. So yeah, if you are live, come say hello, come say hi in chat. And if you have any questions for me for cookbooks or any of the previous things that we did in the first two episodes, make sure to come say hi and ask a question. Yes, I will turn on my mic up just a little bit. Let me know, Cody, if that is helpful. All right, yeah, let's dive into it. Let's dive into what we have today. So I am on my browser, and I don't know if you can see this, but let me know if you can, and I can move forward. There are a lot of people joining us, so I'm really excited. We have this InDesign web page right here. If you've never worked in InDesign, don't be intimidated. It's a really fun tool, and I love making layouts, and you can make all kinds of things. You can make lanyards, you can make business cards, you can make your portfolio project, you can make a cookbook, and today we are making cookbooks. Okay, cool. I don't know if you want this link, but if you do, I can paste it in the chat, or maybe even Cody can paste it in chat, and you can essentially use this to get InDesign for yourself. I do want to talk about Max a little bit as well, because Max is coming up. If you haven't signed up, Max is up in like 20 days or something. And I'm super excited because I've been honored and asked to speak at Max this year. So I have a couple of sessions. You can go up to the speakers page and check stuff out. There are a lot of featured speakers. I know Claudie is speaking as well. So you can go ahead, check Claudie's sessions here as well. And right here, you can check my sessions as well. Super fun. But let's dive into it. Let's say hello to more folks joining. I know Biola is here, of course. Gareth, Caroline, hey, what's up? I love that you all are here. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Let's jump into Illustrator because we are making a cookbook, and I do want to show you that there are some icons that I want to use. So I have this little guy because I have like an Indian tea recipe that I want to incorporate in my cookbook. So we have this guy, which is just a fun little icon. I got all of these from Adobe stock. So I just went to stock.adobe.com/free, and you can just type in icons, and I just wrote in cup. And that's essentially how I got my icons. So you can go in here and change the categories. So you have asset type, and you can change and filter out categories that you want. You have subcategories as well. So you can go ahead and click on vector, and that's going to help you find whatever you need. And that's essentially how I just licensed this free asset. And it's amazing that there are so many free assets just like readily available to you at your fingertips. So you don't need to create these from scratch. If you don't have time, or if you're running short of time, you can just go to stock and let that do the work for you. I do want to see if there is anything in chat. All right, Cody, let me know if this is better. I did change up the mic a little bit, so let me know if this sounds better. Okay. Um, let's see. Do we have Oliver in the chat is saying, have I saved? And yes, I have. I have saved. Okay, let's go back to my Illustrator, and we have this guy right here. We have this little pattern that I also licensed off of Adobe stock. And while using Adobe stock, I do want to make sure that I read all about the licenses. So if it's like a standard license or an enhanced license, make sure you read about what kind of licenses there are. You can read about the licenses right here. And I do think that I need to bump up my mic a little bit. So there you go. That's my mic. I think it might peak if I if I really bump it up. But let me know if this helps. This is terrible that the mic's not working. But technology, that's live streaming for you. But let me know if this is helpful. You can go in here and look at cup. While you tell me that, I am going to demonstrate how you can look at the licenses here. So you can go to vectors, and you can go in and select this guy. And once you do that, you can essentially go here and click on license type. So you have standard license here. You click on standard and you can select whatever you want. You can look at, read about how you can share the files, how many times it's clickable, and all of this is really important when it comes to web versions of files. So amazing. Okay, love that the chat is helping me out with my audio today. If I bump it up even slightly more, it's gonna peak, so I'm not gonna do that. But hey, bump up your volumes. All right, so I have this fun little pattern. I have these icons. So why don't we jump into InDesign and get started? 5 minutes into the stream and we're already in here. This is how InDesign looks like. I also want to mention that I love Creative Cloud libraries. So I am essentially using Creative Cloud libraries to gather all my assets from one Creative Cloud application to another. So I'm essentially using Illustrator right now to get all of these assets and these colors as well, which is something that I picked up from the images that I have. And I am going to go back to my InDesign and show you how that works. And Bliss confirms the volume is bumped up. Thank you. Thank you so much. Amazing. Thanks, chat, for helping me out with my audio today. Perfect. So this is the Learn tab on the homepage on the UI for InDesign, and we have all of these amazing video tutorials that you can look at. If you want to look at something really specific, you would go in here and click on edit content, or essentially creating an attractive sidebar in no time at all. I actually demonstrated that in the second episode. So yeah, you can just go back and watch the replays. But today I'm going to click on new file right here. I have my keystrokes on so you can see what I'm doing on the screen right here. I am going to click on new file. And I know we have more friends joining in chat. Hey Matt, what's up? How you doing? We have Oliver. Did I say hi to you already? Hi Oliver. Okay, cool. So if you are, the first thing when you're making anything in any of the applications is finding out whether it's for digital publications or print. So if it is for print, you would go to the print tab and that will automatically convert the units and also the color profile for the file that you're creating. You would also go to web and that will change it to pixels as well and RGB color profile. I know we have Misty in the chat saying, do we have an ID cookbook template? I'm sure there are tons of templates on stock. So if you can just go to stock.adobe.com/free. The idea here is to not just create something personal, and if you wanted to create something for a client, you may not be making that template or using that template. But it's just the idea to enable you as a creative or as a hobbyist to learn things by yourself. I love that you can use templates as well. That's great, but sometimes there are some things like data merge that the templates don't teach you, which we're going to talk about next week. Okay, without further ado, wow, it's a lot of talking. Let's go to A4, and I'm gonna use web for now because I do want to embed hyperlinks in videos. So because it's a recipe book, what's a recipe book without recipes in it, right? So I'm gonna select facing pages. I do want it to be a multiple of 16 just because it's just force of habit, because printing. I am gonna put 32 just in case, because I don't know how many recipes I'm gonna have, but I'll just put that for now. I don't want to check the primary text frame, and I do want the columns to be kind of 4. I think I'll start with 4 and I can adjust the layout later. So if I'm not happy with my layout at first, I can just go in and change the number of layouts, the columns, and you have the margins in here as well. I think the reason that I would want to change any of these margins, and I will only change the inside, is essentially because because once you open the page of a booklet or a magazine or anything in print, there is this seam that goes with the spine, and that kind of hinders your view to see things, and that is essentially data lost inside. So if you have a margin that's more here, it's going to let you create your layout in an efficient and more effective manner. I do want to see chat real quick just to see if there are any questions. And Fergie says, I predict the stream is going to make me hungry. Yes, same. Yes, same. Okay, I'm going to bump it up just to like 50, I think. And I'm going to leave that be. I don't want bleed because this is a web document, and I also don't want slug because this is not going to go for print. I am going to click this preview button real quick, and it's going to show me the preview for the file, and that is how it looks. So let's click on create, and we're going to have the file right here. We have this cover page. Essentially, there are two ways. So ideally, I would like to switch to my other screen right now. So there are two ways that you can create a cover for any of the designs that you're making in InDesign. If it's a magazine, if it's something for print, you should talk to your printer and talk about whether or not they want the cover in the same file, ideally. And sometimes, often, it is normal for you to share the cover separately because the layout and the dimensions are different. Because if it's like a hardbound cover, you paste like over the top and there's extra information there, so it's essentially ideally a different file. But since this is web, I am going to go back and create a cover image because why not? Okay, so this is a cookbook and I'm calling it Made in India. I am going to do a few things. The first thing I want to show you is what workspace I'm in. So I'm in my workspace, which is my name, but I can go to Essentials Classic just because if you're watching and if you want to follow along, this is super easy. You go to Window and click on Workspace real quick, and then you can go ahead and select any of these. You can click on Book, you can click on Digital Publishing, but I find that for my workflow, it's much easier if I just get Essentials Classic. Just checking chat if I am missing any questions. Okay, cool. So I am gonna go ahead and bring in some images that I found online. I think that this one is gonna go really, really well just because it has like spices, it has everything. It is like the whole mix of flavors that we want in our book and we want the book to reflect. So what I'm gonna do is create a frame here really quick. So I just went to the frame tool, which is right here. You can right click on it and create an ellipse or a polygon frame as well. I am gonna click the rectangle tool and rectangle frame tool and create a frame right here. So I'm gonna make it to the size of this margin. I'm gonna bring it here and bump it up. Okay, so let's go ahead and add this image. And what I'm doing is essentially just clicking and dragging inside the frame. And that's how simple it is to ideally add an image into InDesign. And I just populated that. Now, this is really big because this image was a very big size. This was a 6,000 by 4,000 pixel square pixel image, and I don't want that. So in order to avoid that and make like a content aware fit, I can just go here and click on the content aware fit button. I have this selected. I'm going to click this guy and it's just going to use Adobe Sensei to content aware fit the content here. But I think that this layout might do better with like a square frame. So why don't I go here and maybe make it smaller, something like this. I feel like this might work better. I am gonna see that maybe I want this to be like the whole size of the page. So I'm gonna extend it out, and it's just so easy to do all of these things in InDesign because you don't have to think again. And if you create swatches in InDesign, and if you've ever used Illustrator before, all the global swatches, and I'm just showing you by comparison that with Illustrator and global swatches, essentially all the swatches you use in InDesign are global. So if you change the color that is within the swatch itself, that's going to change everything that is in the file. So I feel like that's really something else. Let's go ahead and go to our CC libraries to gather some assets that we created. So we got all of this from stock. We have some colors, and we have this artwork that I really, really like. It's a very Indian-ish pattern. I won't say it looks Indian, but it could be it could pass off as an Indian pattern. Okay, so my book is called Made in India because obvious reasons, and it is all Indian recipes. So I am also gonna go ahead here and create something like a rectangular color frame just to have like text overlaid on top. So I am gonna go do that, and then I'm going to give it a color. Now these are some colors that I have here already. I am going to select this guy, which is essentially, so what happened here was that it added it to the stroke instead of the fill, and I can just click this guy and we have our cover background. Okay, Cody Bear says, I will buy your cookbook, Anika. Oh, that is amazing. Thanks, Cody. Yeah, I think I can publish it as an EPUB later. So, yes, you can. If you want, you can buy my cookbook on Apple Books or even on Windows devices. I wish I knew what the reader was called for that. Okay, so I feel like this is looking pretty good. I am gonna add a gradient feather just because I really love that. So I am gonna go. I'm just biased to an effect, which is gradients. I love gradients, and I love that we can just use gradients and like also this looks terrible right now, but wait for it. Okay, I'm gonna click here and I'm gonna go ahead and click on FX, which is essentially short for effects. I'm gonna go here and call it a gradient feather. I'm gonna click on it, and right now it looks like this because it's essentially set at 0 degrees here, the angle. But I'm gonna go in and select 90 degrees and click on the preview, check in on check, just to see how that makes a difference. And we have this guy. I feel like this is looking kind of really nice. I'm gonna bring it down just a smidge. We have this really nice effect going on. I feel like maybe I can just decrease the opacity a little bit. Yeah, there you go. I feel like this kind of gives it that vibe. I can also turn it down just a little bit more. I think this is looking fine. I'm gonna press the preview mode and see how that looks. Yeah, I think I should add like a title here, or maybe I can just move the location of this position of this guy to the bottom, but you can obviously change it as you wish. Sophia in the chat says, I'm already hungry and we haven't even gotten to the recipes. Yeah, it is insane, right? It is insane what a cookbook or the idea of a cookbook will do to you. Yes, this was a plan all along. Okay, I am gonna go to my pages tab, which I really can't see here, but I can go back to my workspace just in case. We have pages here, and my library is just like flung all the way across the screen because I'm that person who uses like panels everywhere. You can see that all of these have the A parent page applied by default. I do want to go ahead and create some paragraph styles because I want to use these in my design. So I am going to go to my paragraph. We have all of this information to edit. We have character here as well, where you can change the font of the text that you're creating. So why don't we go ahead, take the text tool, and essentially I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, close the libraries, and then I'm going to bring it here. Okay, I'm gonna call it Made in India, and I'm gonna do this super quick because we're already 15 minutes in. You time just flies by. Okay, I am gonna add a new style. I'm gonna check with my notes here what font I used. I did experiment a little bit with fonts.adobe.com, and it is filtering sans serif fonts, which is why I can't see it. So I'm gonna clear the filter and then I'm gonna find it, which I did. It is a Dashiell Fine black font. I really love this. I think this is a cool font. I am gonna change the sizing, maybe make it 60 points, and then I can just bring it out. I am gonna zoom in just so you can see. I have this guy, and we have all of these things. Let's bring it out, and yeah, that's good, looking kind of nice. I do want to change the color, so I'm going to select all, and then I'm going to go to fill right here. I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to select paper, and that's going to change the color. And I feel like that is looking already very well put. I'm going to bring it here in the center, align it, press W to see how that looks, and it is kind of coming together. Okay, so let's go ahead and leave this be for now because I do want to go ahead and create a master page, and we can come back to this. So I'm going to go to pages, and I'm going to right click this and call a new parent. I click on new parent, and we have the prefix B right here. You can inherit the parent properties from an already created parent page. But since we haven't created anything right now, I don't want it to inherit any logos, uses watermarks that we demonstrated last time. But we're just going to go ahead and create this. So ideally, essentially, the most important thing with creating something like cookbooks is thinking about what you want in your recipes. You want your recipes to be super clear, concise, and to the point, and you also want an image to go with it. So in my master page or my parent page, essentially, you want an image on one side and text on the other. You can also create something which is very like a different layout, which is very fun, and there's like text overflowing to both sides of the page. If that's something that you like, I would love to see what you create. But let's go back and create some magic here. Okay, let's go back. I know there are friends joining. I know Rob is joining. Hi Rob, welcome on in. Okay, so the first recipe we have is essentially ghar ki chai. It is Indian tea, but we're creating a master page. So why don't we go here and create a frame? So I'm gonna add a frame here, and this is gonna have my image. And now I do want to create like a text box here that is gonna have all my information. So this is gonna be my header information, and we have this. I'm gonna call it recipe name, and I'm just giving this the same style that I created. I did not end up creating any style there, but I'm just gonna create a style here and call it um 72. and I think this kind of works. And then I'm going to go ahead, click on this plus button, call it header, and that's it. And now I can go into this paragraph style, and I'm going to bring in my paragraph style options. I can change the character formats. I can change the hyphenation options, and I am going to go ahead and deselect hyphenate because I don't like my text hyphenating. It also is very jarring to read. So I am going to go in here, and obviously I use this color, and by default InDesign saves it in your swatches. So if you use one color in your document once, it is there for you in the file to use. So I'm going to click OK, and we have already made a paragraph style. This is the first style that we're using. I think I might size it down. So I can go back into my header and go back to my character color. Character formats. I am going to give it like 65, I think. And I think that should work. That should kind of work. Double click and bring it in. Cool. Yeah, I think I like it. Um, I love it. Cody in the chat says, I had pumpkin chai this morning. That is amazing. Was it a pumpkin spice latte? Rob in the chat says, we should have a crowd project where all chat and streamers design their favorite recipes in a page and put together a cookbook. That is actually amazing. That is a great recipe because, yeah, I'm sorry. I just said that is a great recipe. That is a great recipe for success, Rob. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna call it tagline here, and I am gonna change the font here. So I will give like a new style to this. Maybe I use like the same font family but a different weight, just to give it that hierarchy. And I will use perhaps like a 48 just to see how that looks. Maybe this is really big. And I think this kind of looks nice. And then I'm just gonna go here and click on this and call it tagline. Just gonna call it tagline for now to save time. And I can bring it out and make it flush, and then I can go to type and fill with placeholder text, and you have some text here. I think I want to bring it down just a little bit, and I am gonna go in here and grab some of my icons. So I am gonna go to my libraries again, and Fergie in the chat is talking about my jokes. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just trying here. I am gonna add this guy, which is just the timer. I think I also want to add like a plate situation, because maybe this is like a recipe you want and you want to know how many people it's made for. But in this case, it's going to be like a chai recipe. So this essentially, ideally, what I should be doing is creating frames for it. So let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and create a rectangular frame. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to select it here. I also want to make sure that this is like in the center of the page, and I will align everything like it'll be a two span column recipe, but I will create two separate pages just because I want to show you the difference between how you would create a two span column and how you just do it manually. I feel like there's always, as someone who's just starting in InDesign, you always are thinking about faster ways to do things, but I mean, know the rules before you break them, right? So I am going to space these out really quickly. I'm going to select this guy, and then I'm going to go ahead and distribute horizontal centers. Now, vertical centers, I always get confused in this. Oh, they're already aligned, are they? I'm not sure. I'm messing around with these settings here. But these will contain what icons I am going to add. And then I want this text here, which will contain what is it for. So if it's like how much money it costs, how many people it's going to be, how much cooking time or prep time you need for this. So I want to make it 18. I think I want to size it down just a little bit, 14, and also change it to a medium. Okay, maybe I can just do a regular, and then I can use the medium for these steps and directions that we're going to use. So let me zoom in real quick. And Rob says that's so Wade Acuff with the puns. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. That's all I can say. Okay, so let's bring this here, and let's align these, and I'm gonna align these to the center. I do feel these are much bigger than I expected them to be, so I am gonna make it 12, and I am gonna space it out just a little bit more because they're really close together. So I am gonna bring it out just a smidge, and then I'm gonna bring this guy out as well. And this kind of looks like it works. Okay, I do think that I want to bring it down just a little bit here, and I want to add like a recipe number to it. So it's like the first recipe. It's kind of like a page number which you're going to add later if we have time. So we have 01 here. I'm going to double click, and this has the same paragraph style as the header. We can go back and change the paragraph style for this later, but for now I think this should suffice. I am going to use a line tool here again, just because I want to add some style elements. This is a pretty basic style element that I'm using just because I want to break the norm, break the eye, and like how the eye moves across the layout, and just have that as like a design element there. So I am probably gonna make it a little bit make it like 0.25 points, and then make it flush with like the one here. I don't know if this is how it's gonna look like in the end, but this is what we're starting with. That's actually the beauty of using layouts and designs like this. Okay, I'm sizing these down as well. We'll think about this. Okay, and now I am gonna create a text box here, and let's go here, and I'm gonna fill it with placeholder text right here, and I'm just looking in chat just to make sure there are no questions that I missed. Okay, so I did make this huge text box, but this does not look like what I want to create. What I want to create is an ingredient list which is bulleted. So I'm gonna click this guy, and I want this to have like a paragraph style that is bulleted. So I am gonna go ahead and click inside, and then I'm gonna click this plus button, call it bulleted list, and then I'm gonna go in here, and I'm gonna edit the paragraph style options just so that I can apply it to something inside, right? So it is not based on anything, but I can base it on my tagline, which is essentially meaning that it's gonna grab and inherit the properties of my tagline paragraph style. It can also do with the header. You can also get it with the basic paragraph. But as we talked about last week, I do want to point it out again that you should not base your styles on the basic paragraph or the default styles, because your InDesign may be different from your printer's InDesign. So if you base it on something that's by default, you may have changed your default to be Helvetica and you just forgot about it, and they have Minion Pro by default. So it's gonna cause an issue if that happens. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out again. Okay, let's go back in here, go to basic character formats. I am gonna change it to the font that we chose. So that is Dashiell Fine Regular. I'm gonna size it down to 9. Actually, maybe I'm gonna use like sans serif. Yes, a sans serif font for this. And I am gonna bring it down to 9. I'm gonna leave the leading as is, leave the tracking as is for now. Change the case to regular. I think I'm just gonna keep lowercase here. And I remember Cody saying earlier that everything is lowercase. Yeah, I think that's what I like about this. I really want this to be just lowercase, I think. We'll talk about paragraph rules in a bit. We have hyphenation. I'm gonna turn that off. And then we have right here. Where are you? Paragraph rules, paragraph border, bullets and numbering. So this bullets and numbering option, you can essentially create something that's just bulleted by default. So you go to list type, and you can go to bullets and numbers. I'm going to select bullets, and immediately you see that there are bullets incorporated. If I select none, it's going to remove the bullets, and if I select bullets, it's going to show me. And this is because my preview is turned on. I feel like this is super handy when you're creating something with a bulleted list. I'm going to keep the alignment to left, and I'm going to decrease the tab position just a smidge, just so that it's not too far from the bullet itself. Okay, and then I'm going to click OK. And now this text box is wow. InDesign just crashed on me. I'm sorry, you guys. Give me 1 second. Let's go back here. InDesign just decided to crash on me, but I am going back. I did not save. Chat, I did not save. But let's hope that my InDesign document is alive. The one time that Anika doesn't save, InDesign crashes. Okay, going back here. Hello, InDesign is back. I'm gonna save this just because I feel like I should. Sorry, send report. Yes. InDesign just decided to crash on me. Give me a second, you guys. Okay, let's go back here. I'm gonna save it to just like a cookbook, Adobe Live, and then I'm gonna click OK. I'm just gonna save it. Just realized I should save my file. Everyone in chat is like, you did not save? How dare you? But yeah, it's amazing what Creative Cloud and recovery can do. But I love it. InDesign, play nice. Too much awesome for InDesign. Anika didn't save. Wow. At least it's not corrupt. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. All right. I am gonna go in here and add another text box here, and I'm gonna call it steps. I think I'm gonna call this one ingredients. I'm gonna select everything and call ingredients. I'm gonna go in here and then I'm gonna bring it here. I think I want to make like spacing a little bit more. I think this is too much. Yeah, I think this should work, and then size it down. Let's bring it. The Adobe gods work in funny ways. Always save. Worse than a ban hammer. Sophia in the chat says it's teaching you a lesson. Sophia, I always save my work. Okay, all right. Sorry, enough talking. Let's go into recipe name. I think this is looking nice. It will look better when there's actual content inside, but I do want to jump into the content. So why don't we go in here? I think I want to change the style of this. I know we called I'm gonna running out ranking out on like what I'm gonna call it. I usually call it with like the names of the fonts, but I am gonna say Dashiell. I think it was a medium, so I'm gonna call it medium and title. That's what I'm gonna call this guy. And then I can go in here and I can go in Dashiell medium title, and then I can go in here, change the style, and then I'm gonna change. Maybe I'm gonna keep it 12. Yeah. Okay. There you go. That's the difference. Um. All right. Perfect. And then I'm gonna bring a copy in here, and this is the directions. So I'm gonna rename and call this directions, if I can spell. Directions. Okay, cool. So this is our first master page. I do want to create something which is the exact opposite of this, and super easy. I can just create a duplicate of this guy. So I can create a duplicate parent spread, which is C parent, and then I can just bring everything into the other side. I can just delete this frame. I can add it to the other side later, and then I bring it here, hold shift, go to the rectangle frame, bring this in here, and that is as easy as it is. We have B and C parent. So B parent looks like this, C looks like this. And now we're gonna go in here to maybe like page 6 or 7 and then drag it out to B. And it's as easy and as simple as adding a master page to an element is by dragging the page out to the page that you're working on. You can add the C document here as well. So I just added C and it changed the layout to the right hand side, and I wanted it the left for the first recipe I have. So we have this right here. Okay, why don't we go ahead and start by adding an image here. So we have created the basic paragraph styles, and I just want to create like an image inside. So I have like some images here that I'm gonna fetch for you real quick. I'm actually gonna add some images here as well. So let's go ahead and add some frames. So maybe I want to give like a differentiation between what is this section of the book. So maybe I want like chai images here. So okay, that's a really good one. I'm gonna click and drag here. And Puppy Cat says grids are so soothing. Yeah, they are. Shift Option Command C to size it down. That's like my favorite shortcut other than Shift Option Command V. If you haven't used it, it's a paste in place and it's amazing. I love that Shift F does the thing in Illustrator, but it took me a while to get used to Shift Option Command C. We yes. Okay, let's bring some more things in here. I have all of these food images that I'm browsing through, and I think this one is kind of nice. I think this is like what we are going for, but there are more. So I think maybe I'll use this one. This is like the this is really cool. I'm gonna click in here and press the same shift option. Okay, that's looking really nice. I will create a text box here. I think I will size it down just a little bit before I create a text box. And I do want to get this guy here and grab this page, and I'm gonna create a new parent which will just have like shift option command V, and it's just gonna have it here, and I'm gonna bring it up here just because I wanted to have that. This is just like a header. Um, and yeah, okay. Bye Bliss, thank you so much for joining. Yeah. And then we have this guy here. I'm gonna drag it out onto 5 just because I want it to be the same style and at the same distance from the margin. So I'm going to click this, and to override the parent page element, I'm going to press Shift Command and click. This is on a Mac. If you're working on a Windows device, the command will be replaced by a control key. And so for header, I'm going to call it like fresh mornings. I'm going to call it fresh mornings, and then I'm going to bring it up in here. I think this might have to be sized down just a little bit, and I do think that I need to change the leading here. So I am going to go into the paragraph style and change the leading. So I'm going to go into header. I'm going to click the pencil icon right here, and then I'm going to go to this leading here and maybe make it like 72. See how that, okay, maybe I need to size it down. Maybe I'll just make it like 60. I usually keep like, maybe just keep like 70. Usually keep like a 6 point difference. I'm not a fan of that, but we're gonna leave it as is. I think I'll just like make, I think I'll just make the leading lesser. Hold on. Okay, so I'm missing a lot of chat. Stuart says the claw with added feet. Yeah, the shortcuts. Yeah, it's amazing. It's mind blowing how many shortcuts we have. Okay, I do think that needs to be flushed. So flush to the uh image here. So I am gonna keep, wow. No, sorry. Give me a second. My internet and my InDesign is really acting up today. Hold on. Hold on. Are we good? We good. We good. Okay. Cool. So, have I switched screens yet? I haven't. I know I haven't. Give me a second, you guys. I'm gonna bring it back. All right. So, okay. Here we go. All right. So this looks kind of nice. We have this here, and now I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my information. So I have my recipes right here. I have, I'm gonna call it Ghar Ki Chai. So I'm gonna select this and override these documents. We have Ghar Ki Chai right here. We have, I wrote a little tagline for it, which is super fun. It is experience the simple pleasures of a homemade chai. I do think I need to size this down. So I'm gonna go to tagline, go to character formats, and gonna change the size to like 18, and I will press escape by error. I'm gonna click it again, go to character formats, give it the 18 point size, and click on OK. Yeah, I think this is looking nice. We can ideally change this to be bigger, and then I can just size it up just a little bit. We're gonna do that in just a second, and I'm gonna bring it up here. Cool. And now I have these frames right here, which I can add the icons to. So I had my layers and the libraries right here. So I have my CC libraries somewhere. This is my CC libraries, and this is what they look like. So I can go in here and add all of this. And since this is T, I'm going to grab in this um, and add it to my frame and click on content aware fit, and it's going to do its thing. And now it's inside, but I do feel that this can be smaller. So I'm going to bring it smaller just so that it fits the actual frame. We can also add like a different icon that we had. I also have this wallet icon, which I think is really cool because I can just go in here and tell you how much it's going to cost. So it just costs like $5. That's it. That's how easy it is to add these icons. So since we already had frames, if you wanted to replace the chai icon with like a dish, you could easily do that because you do not make it like a generic property in the parent page. You just gave it a frame, and you just had to replace that frame with the actual icon you're using. And the last thing that I'm going to do is add like a stopwatch, because I feel like the stopwatch is really something. You really want to know how much time you're spending on creating. I always feel like when I'm cooking, I spend like 3 hours cooking to eat for like 10 minutes. So yeah, gotta know how much prep time you're having. So I'm gonna go in here and see what prep time I have. I think I'm gonna say like this is approximately 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes. And then we have this, which is essentially, I don't know, um two people. And this is gonna be, I'm just overriding all of these elements. Let me know if you missed any shortcut or if you want me to repeat. And I will make it center line, I will like size it up just a little bit. I was just laying out stuff, and I will. It's a bit of a back and forth when you're laying out stuff. And now we have ingredients. So I can just go ahead and add these ingredients here, and I don't even have to think about it. So let's go ahead. And this is a secret family recipe, you guys. So if you're watching this live, amazing. Thank you for being here. And if you're just joining us, we're 40 minutes into our stream. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Anika, and this is InDesign. And this is the Let's InDesign show that we started up. Now, this is already formatted, but I can just go ahead and add this information here. So I can just like delete. I already had it in bullets from where I pasted. But since this already has formatting, which is bulleted list, you don't really need to go ahead and do any of this by default or every single time you're doing. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit so that there is no orphan situation happening with the crush. So essentially having just one word at the end of a paragraph is called as orphans. There are widows and orphans, and you should read about type, and you can read all about it over the internet. So yeah, I'm just doing this so that it doesn't look so jarring and there's no hyphenation. I already turned that off earlier, so this is all good. And then I'm gonna bring this up just a smidge, and now I'm gonna add the directions, which is just recipes. So now you have my chai recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I think I'm gonna copy this here, and I'm gonna go ahead and add, and then I'm gonna hit enter just so that I can add my second step, which is this guy. And then I'm gonna hit enter again, which is the third step, and now this is my third step, and I'm gonna bring it in. And now we have literally added our chai recipe right here. I can go ahead and change the layout just a little bit, so it's like a little bit further down on the page, and there's like more negative space for the recipe number to breathe. I think I want to do that, but before I do that, I do want to add an image here for the chai. So I am going to go ahead and add an image. Give me a second while I find an image I can use. I do think this one is pretty cool. It goes with the colors that we have. I just selected this very earthy color for our design just because I thought this was super fun. So I just clicked it and pressing my favorite shortcut again, Shift Option Command C. C doesn't work for some reason. But we have chai here. I am gonna zoom in just a little bit just so that you can actually see what's going on, and then I can bring it up. Center it. I think Content Aware Fit does a great job, but sometimes you really want to edit it and make it custom to what look and what look like the rule of thirds you're going for. So it's taking up most of the space in the frame. I feel like that is also a great like thing, like a very important thing to think about in composition, because when you're laying out stuff, you do want to follow the rule of thirds, which is not happening here. So we're fixing that. Okay, so we have this information. I am gonna go to my master page again, and I'm gonna change how this looks. I'm gonna check chat just because I haven't seen chat in a while. And I'm just gonna see if I missed any questions. So let's see here. Becca agrees about recipes taking 3 hours. Yes. And Cody's excited about the chai secrets. Yes, yes, yes. Amazing. All right. I love that. Thank you. Did I hit undo by any chance? I think I did. Okay, so this is how it looks. I'm gonna close the CC libraries for now and press W again. It does look not balanced right now. This composition needs more work. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press W, and then I'm gonna bring these down on this page, and then I'm gonna edit the master page according to this by pressing shift, like pasting in front, and then I'm gonna bring it down. I think I wanna possibly increase the size of the text because I feel like it's super small with like in comparison to hierarchy. So I do want to go in here to my frame really quickly to my bulleted list. I want to go to my character formats and change it to 12, which is what we used. I think this is much more readable. I am going to use the eyedropper tool to really show you how this works. So I'm going to press I, and then I can just like select this style and then apply it to this. And that did not work. Wow, it always happens when you're live, folks. But you just apply it and you just have to click and drag over the text, and it's just gonna apply the same properties. So, same, it picks up what font it is, what font size it is, what formats there are, if it's hyphenating or not, and it applies the same paragraph style to it. So now it has bulleted list, which is like a larger size. And here again, you see that there's an orphan happening. We see there is an issue here as well. So why don't we go ahead and bring it up a little bit? I think I will change the number of columns to 6 because I feel like that's working a little bit better for this layout. So we're gonna do that. We are in here as well, and I'm gonna bring it up just a little bit. Oh, there's more information. So how did I know that there was more information? There are two ways that you can see that there's more information. There's this little error pre-flight panel here at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it. It says 2 errors for me right now. I can go in here and click on this 2 errors button, and it's going to open the pre-flight panel for me. What this does, so essentially when you're creating a file in InDesign, you would want it to have no errors at all. So you just go to the pre-flight panel here, and it's going to give you where the errors are. You see that there's overset text, and that essentially means that your text is overflowing. So you just want to make sure that before you send your file to print or even to your clients, you want to make sure that your file is error free, and make sure to always package your files. So let's go back and go in here and see where the errors are. I do see that the errors are right here because of this little plus, red plus button, but I am going to show you what happens if you double click this. So it just says it's text frame, but I don't know where the text frame is, right? Oh, I see what you mean, Becca. Yeah, I think that is just because of how my stream is set up, but I hope you can see the pre-flight panel. It is at the bottom of the screen. And if you've used InDesign or any tool such as Illustrator, you will see that the magnifying and all of the panel information is at the bottom. I am gonna fix that in just a second. Give me a second. Um, there you go. Does this work better? No, it doesn't. 1 second. We're just like updating on the fly here. Okay, you should be able to see the errors now. All right, this is the error panel I was talking about, and these are the 2 errors that we looked at. Now, this is the pre-flight panel that we have, and I'm gonna go in here and I am gonna double click this just to see what happens and where it redirects me, right? And I hope, Becca, this makes sense and you can find it now. This has text frame right here, and it's just redirecting me to where I had. I am just going to go here just to make sure that it's redirecting me to the right text frame. And I'm just going to double click, and it sends me to the page that I had. And this text frame is selected, right? So this tells me this plus button right here, this red plus icon right here, shows me that this is where your error is. So you need to fix it. So I'm going to go in here and try to fix it real quick. I'm going to bring it down. That just means it has overset text. You can click it and flow it to a new text box like this. But I don't want to do that because I just want to have this one consolidated bulleted ingredient list. I do have this in here that I want to make larger. Maybe I want to make it bigger like this just to have that crushed button here, word here. Or maybe I'll just leave it for now for the sake of time. We only have about 10 minutes left in the stream. This is time just flies here. What is up? What is how? Cody confirms that it's good now. Yeah, thank you. All right, so I am gonna do similar things to this as well, just to bring it down. I don't know what this is. Let's see. Oh, that is so weird. I did not want to have that. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring everything down just a little bit, just so that it's more efficient in the page. I feel like this is a better layout here. I do think that this can have more spacing, like the leading can be different here. But and this is super big, so I'm gonna size it down. I'm gonna double click. I'm gonna press W again. I'm gonna double click in here and size it down just to match to the size of the icons we have. I'm gonna bring it up, and then I'm gonna and exit out of it. Yeah, and then I can just bring it down. Yeah, just like that. And then I can just modify this to align. You can also do this manually because InDesign gives you all these grids. But if it's like this and you want to align it, you can just go to your align panel up top. So you have this and this selected, and you can see right over here, there's this align panel, and you can horizontal align everything you have selected. So I'm going to do this, and that's alignment. But this time it just aligned anywhere on the screen, but I want to align it to my key selection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these two, and then I'm going to select this guy again, which makes this to have the precedence for the alignment, which essentially means only the other element, because only all the other elements will move their positions according to the position that has the, according to the element that has the precedence. What I did was clicked on this guy, clicked on the other text frame, and then only clicked on this first element. And now I'm going to click horizontal align, and there you go. The first element did not move, but we have the second element aligned. I'm going to do the same thing to all of these, just so that we are not eyeing, like doing anything by eye, and everything is just perfect. That's the beauty of InDesign. I love that. Biola says, so good. I love that you're here, Biola. Thank you for giving us your time with like all of you all joining us live. I love that we have like such an amazing community here, and all of us get to interact live. There is also another text frame, overset text. So I am going to bring it down so that we have more information here. I'm going to add it just a little bit like this. Maybe it's going to span 2 columns, and I think this looks really nice, and you enjoy it with your favorite snacks, so that's always good. Okay, I love that we've already done one page, but why don't we go ahead and save it up and see how the preview looks. I'm going to show you how the preview looks. Now this is page 1, and we can actually go in and like finally fill our cover page or something. I am going to apply like this header information here real quick on this page, so that we have this here, and then I'm just going to call it Made in India, which is like the book name, and then I'm going to call it this. All right, let's go, let's do it. We're almost there, we almost made it. And this is just like a starter and like a kickstart for you to actually do something like this. And I would love that if you ever actually end up creating something from the techniques and tips you learned today, make sure to share them with me on my social media. I have a website where you can also send me requests for any of the streams that you want to see in the future, and I would love to incorporate any of your suggestions, and whatever you're stuck with, I would love to incorporate those. I do have some styles here, so I am going to go to tagline. Now the color of this is essentially brown, so you can't really see, but I am going to create a new style, and I'm going to call it tagline cover for now. And then I'm going to go in here, and then I'm going to go to my pencil icon. I can go in here and change the color of the characters. I'm going to call it paper for now. I'm going to call it this, and then I can essentially go in here and bring it up. So I think this is a little bit too big because I want it to be flush to the size of Made in India. I just feel like that's just how I create logos as well. And I always like how it's like flowing and everything's like symmetrically and like centered, like just aligned everywhere. So I am going to go in and select what we have. Maybe I'll just give it like a smaller weight as well. And maybe I'll give it like a medium. And I think I already used that style. So I'm going to keep it as is for now. And I'll just increase the size because I know we talked about that. This does have the header. So I'm going to call it header. And then I'm going to go ahead and call this header cover. And I'm going to go in here, change the color, go back to my character color. And I'm making sure that I'm using the same sizes, which is why I did not change the size or the font weight, just because I feel like if you do that, it kind of gets jarring if you use more than 2 fonts in any design. So I'm going to keep it that. And I already used 2 fonts. I was like, maybe I should not do this. And then I am going to size it down just a little bit, but I'll do that in just 1 second. But we have this here, and let's bring this in. We are going to bring this in. That's how this looks. And yeah, this is it. We are just 4 minutes shy from our stream ending today, so I'm gonna give you a quick recap. This is a cookbook layout that we created in InDesign today. We created master pages, so we went to our pages panel right here. We have parent pages B and C, which are essentially the same but on opposite sides. We have D parent here, which has the header, and we also have the cover page. Stuart in the chat says creating a table of content using paragraph styles is super easy as well. Maybe one for future stream. Absolutely, we're gonna create table of contents in a future stream. Thank you so much for your recommendations, Stuart. I appreciate it. I am gonna use data modes next time. So next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, please join me here on Behance and YouTube on Adobe Live at the YouTube channel. We are gonna create very fun stuff, but let me give you a quick walkthrough of what we have here. We have made in India here, and then we went ahead and added some chai images for fresh mornings, and that's your recipe. That is the first page of our book, and I love that we created this right within an hour. Now you have everything set. The first few minutes of your template takes a while because you're setting everything up, but as you set everything up, it's just so handy and neat because you don't have to do it over and over again. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a great evening and a great week. I hope you come back next week where we learn data merge and all about creating brand collaterals and elevating your brand. Thank you all for joining, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.